I'm going to show you how to make this easy hair bow. There is no sewing involved, no template needed. You just need some glitter fabric or leatherette, some sharp scissors, a hair clip to attach it to, hot glue, and I do use a little bit of thread just to wind around the middle to hold it in place. The fabric I'm using is this lace top layered glitter fabric. Everything that I use in this tutorial I will link in the description below. If I can't find the exact product, I will link something very similar, but this fabric is absolutely gorgeous. It comes in 4 colours and it's got this gorgeous pretty lace sort of top layer. So just to show you the size of this bow I've made today, it measures 4 inches across, but you can make this in any size that you like because you don't need a template. So if you want to make it bigger or wider, then you can. So once you've chosen your fabric, we're going to draw on the underside and measure out our strips. So you will need a ruler and a pen for this part. So we're going to measure 2 strips. I measured mine in centimetres, but I'll tell you in inches as well. So it needs to be 1 inch wide or 2.5 centimetres wide by just over 6 inches in length or 16 centimetres. As you can see here, I measured my 2 widths at the same time, and then I just cut the 2 lengths off across the top of the fabric. Once you've got your 2 strips measured and marked out, you need some good fabric scissors to cut these out. I use Fiskars fabric scissors. These will also be linked in the description below, because when you're cutting these sort of chunky glitter fabrics, these really do make a big difference and make the job a lot easier. So now we have the 2 strips cut out, we're going to measure 2 inches or around 5 centimetres from one end. So taking my tape measure and a pen, I'm marking that 2-inch spot from the top. And then take the second piece and do the same again. So just hold them together and mark that 2-inch from the top. And then fold the strip in half lengthways so you can see the 2-inch mark on the outside there. Basically, we want to cut from that 2-inch mark to the inner fold. So I'm just going to turn it this way and line my scissors up to where that 2-inch mark is and cut diagonally to that center point. Again, sharp scissors do help with this because you're cutting through 2 layers at once, and then when you open it up, you've got that pointed end, which is what we're after. So we're going to do the same on that second piece, cut from that 2-inch mark that we made to that center crease. So our 2 strips of fabric now will look exactly the same. Now we're going to pick the 2 pieces up with the pointed ends at the top, and we are going to make an X shape. The pointed ends are at the top and the tail bits at the bottom need to be 2 inches from where they cross over at the bottom, and the gaps at the side need to be 1.5 inch in distance from the tail to the top piece. By taking these measurements and making sure they match, you will have a nice even shaped bow. And now we are going to make a double pinch in the middle. So first of all, we're going to fold it up in half by pushing the middle bit down, and then we're going to bring the sides up and down on either side, so you end up with a double pinch. So this is what it will look like when it's done. To hold it all securely in place, I use some strong thread. So I place the thread underneath my thumb, keeping it all nice and tightly pinched so I don't lose that nice double pinch, leaving enough tail to tie off. And then I wrap the other side around a couple of times, making sure it's in the middle. And then I tie it off tightly on the underside, and that just ensures to hold that pinch in nice and tightly. I tie it off in a double knot and then trim off any excess strands of thread. So this is what it looks like now. And now we're going to bring those points to the middle. You can either hot glue in the middle, but I like to hot glue on the pointed parts first. So placing a little bit of hot glue on the pointed end, bringing it into the middle, overlapping the thread that we tied off. Please note, when you bring them in, make sure they're level and straight. Don't let the loops twist. So bring them in, making sure they're lovely and straight and both the loops are even. So check on the front side that both the loops are the same size, because you don't want one bigger than the other. And now we are ready to attach our hair clip. I've got a 45mm double pronged hair clip which I've already lined with some matching ribbon, and I'm using hot glue to attach this on the underside of my bow. And then I'm going to cut a strip around 5 centimetres in length by 1 centimetre wide. I just do this freehand. This is to wrap around the centre of the hair bow. So using our hot glue again, we're going to attach this to the centre. So I like to place a little bit of glue in the middle first and just line it up over the centre of the bow. And then I tightly bring the 2 ends around the back, placing some hot glue on that strip. You can trim it down if you need to, but this was just long enough to wrap underneath that clip. So we're almost done now. All that's left to do is to cut the shape of the tails. You can leave it like this if you want to, but I like to add a little diagonal curved cut. So from the inner corner, I start to cut and I curve the scissors round, cutting off a diagonal, and that just really softens the shape and finish that off beautifully. For the other side, I'm just going to turn it upside down to make it easier. So from the inner corner, curving the scissors, cutting off a little bit of the corner, so you end up with that lovely sort of slanted tail shape. And that is the finished sailor style hair bow with no template, no sewing. It was so easy to make. You can, as I said, make these in any size that you like. You could also try different patterned leatherettes. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial today. If you did, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you press the bell button, that will turn on notifications. I'll be back again soon. Bye.